Hey yo, go to goodgarments.com and cop up them garments, you heard?
You ever read a book so raw it grabs you by the throat and don't let go? Yeah, that's the Blood Sagas. Book 1, Blood and Loyalty. That's where it starts. Loyalty's a weapon. Family ain't always safe. And every page bleeds with power, pain, and purpose. Then comes Blood and Betrayal. And trust me, that title ain't just for show. Betrayal cuts deeper when it comes from the ones closest to you. Lines get crossed. Blood gets spilled, and the only thing more dangerous than an enemy is an ally. This series, it ain't for the faint of heart. It's dark, it's dirty, and it's damn near impossible to put down. So if you like your fantasy with grit, gods, and no guarantees, step into the Blood Sagas. You want more? Reach out to the one who birthed this chaos, Avery Brown.
LAZ, go to thebloodsaga.com and cop that. Hey yo, if you want to cop one of these Good Garments t-shirts, I'm gonna leave the link in the description and in the comments section. You heard? If you don't see it in the description, it's pinned in the comments. I'm gonna leave several links for different varieties of the shirt. If you just want the Good Garments New York City joint, I got it for you.
Usually niggas take it on the hop when they see the sight of their own blood, kid. You understand what I'm saying? They fear that the cut gon' rip wider, whatever their imagination makes them believe. They run. That nigga ain't run. When that nigga Jairez shot that nigga, mind you, that nigga was 35 and we only was like 17. When that nigga shot that big bald-headed muscle blood nigga from the West Coast, that nigga turned around, kid, and grabbed the motherfucking mop stick. But I had that name when I didn't want that name. You know, a nickname is not one that you're supposed to take by looking at yourself in the mirror and figuring out what fits your characteristics. That's fronting. Your nickname gotta come from your peers. Because when it comes from your peers, it's a reflective of how they collectively see you, which finds validation in who you are. That's just the slight. A name is only but so much. A person is way much more than a name. But a nickname comes from your peers through the vision or through the collective sight of how they see you. You got a big head, so they call you Big Head. You got a little head, so they call you Peanut. In my case, they call me Tank Head because when I was a kid, my head was, you know, bigger than my body was, I guess, at that time. And I hated the name, you know. I used to get mad and frustrated. You know, I wanted to be called, you know, the first 3 letters of my name like everybody else was doing back in the days. My first name is Sean, so I wanted to be called Shot. And motherfuckers thought I was playing, man, and that shit led me into doing shit that I shouldn't have been doing at that age in order to earn my respect, but the nickname stuck. And so when me and Rumble took to the streets, you know, Rumble and them had Decepticon names, Rumble, Overkill, motherfucking Starscream, Bullet, Rumble Twin. All these dudes had names, you know, that were consistent with that type of shit. But then I had to have a name, and it was the name that they gave me in the street, Tank Head. And that shit just, from the moment I started getting into trouble, that name took its own infamy, man. You know what I mean? It took its own infamy. You know, it became something that people looked at in a derisive way until they got to see me. So that people would say, oh, I ain't calling you Tank Head. And it ain't, you know, the name that won them over. It was the personality that they ended up getting to know that was attached to the name. You understand saying? Because I've always, you know, been a leader. I've always been a lone wolf, man, you know. Like I said, Rumble and them was Decepticons. You ain't hear me say we was Decepticons. You understand? I remember me and Rum had a fight back in the days when he first turned the Decepticon. He gonna come tell me Decepticons gonna take over the world. I told him, get the fuck out my face with that shit. Me and that nigga was fighting, kid. He was in hospital. I don't know how old he was. We was fighting over the shit. You understand saying? So that name Tank Head, you know, it came with its own, you know what I mean? It came with its own, you know, definition. And like I said, infamy grew around it. You know, always a lone wolf. You know what I mean? Me and Rumble was talking about that yesterday. He's like, yo, Tank, you always was a lone wolf who you choose to. I'm like, nah, bro, but I fuck with. He like, nah, Tank, nah, me and you different. He like, but you always choose who you hang with. Like, you don't give a fuck, nigga. You always been by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the characteristics and things that correspond or complement what a tank is, like a tank is its own self. Like a tank could be in a position on the battlefield, it could just hold a whole corner down by itself. You understand what I'm saying? Never so much in stature, but just in audacity. You know what I mean? To have that heart. You understand what I'm saying? When you'll go against every motherfucking body because you know you a fucking tank. You understand what I'm saying? And that shit just took on its own infamy, like throughout my travels, man. Like I tell these dudes out here, they be in a situation, be like, yo, I feel the tension. And I don't be feeling nothing. We could be in a lounge, man. Niggas just getting rowdy, but so what? Niggas drunk, niggas just showing off, niggas just having fun. I don't care about none of that. How do I know that? How could I sense that? How could I smell that? Because I know what it feels like to go into a prison yard. You asked me about Clinton earlier. I know what it feels like to go into Clinton yard with the hill and all that, about 750 motherfuckers in the yard at one time. And don't nobody want to speak to you because you the target. And you supposed to be the one getting hit tonight. You understand what I'm saying? So after you go through a psychological orientation of that kind, you'll be able to sense out and feel where the motherfucking tension is at and where the, you know what I mean, bad energy is at. Because remember, kid, when you ain't had no gun and no bulletproof vest and nowhere to run and no homeboys to turn to, and the target was on your back and you met that shit head on and you prevailed from that shit, you get wisdom from that. You understand what I'm talking about? So, you know, like I said, my name grew and took on its own infamy, man. You got the homies that use it. And I only acknowledge only one homie that uses it, and that's my boy from the Bronx, Janelle. You know what I mean? That's the Comrade, you know what I mean? Because he got the name from my Comrade. My Comrade was a kid named Raw from the Bronx, Jamel Harris and shit. We was in E6 back in the days of Spofford. If a nigga ever been in Spofford, you know what E6 mean. That's like the isolated dorm. We couldn't be around none of the little kids because we was too bad. They only kept us three together. And so back then, not Tank had me, Raw, and another kid named Divine Boom. He had like a gruesome killing when he was a kid. It was in the news like in 1988. He was an adopted kid in the Bronx, and his adopted parents was molesting him, and he slaughtered the whole family. Like, you can look that shit up. You understand? But we all was in the housing unit together, and I taught Jamel Harris, which is Raw. I taught him how to read when we were kids. You know, he used to have a girlfriend. Her name was Shanika from the Bronx, and he used to want to write her, but he couldn't write. So I used to take excerpts from different songs, maybe New Edition songs and Surface songs, and put them all together and make it into a composition and give it to him. And he was sending her songs that was composed from excerpts that I was taking from people's songs, and he was sending them to her, and that ended up building a friendship between me and him. So when me and him ended up on Rikers Island, maybe like in 1992 together, you know, from Spofford to Rikers Island, the way them people used to tell us in grade school, oh, you going to prison when you get up. Shit ended up affecting us in that way. Anyway, in 1992, when me and him meet up in Rikers Island this time, I get out the thing, or the box, and when I get out the box, the brother Tankhead and Janelle from the Bronx, he there, and Raw calling him Tankhead. What the fuck going on? Because when I first left him in Mar 9, you know, he was down there with Fruit and all of us. Heck, Blessed Dad, Big Belly Heck and all of us. We used to call him Shorty Bronx or BX, you know what I mean? So when I get to 4 up there and Raw calling him Tankhead, what the fuck going on? He's like, yo, son, big ass head. That nigga look like your brother. Like, he teasing with the nigga. But I know Tankhead at the time. He was in Mar 9, but I ain't never really fuck with him, you know what I mean? Because that Brooklyn and Bronx shit was going on. You know, they had him doing some things, you know what I mean, that dudes was talking about that I can't lie about, but I'm not going to compliment. I mean, let the internet say what it does, but you know what I mean? But I still fucked with the nigga, you know what I mean? And after, you know, he took on a name, it was just ironic the way all of my enemies became his enemies. Like, everybody I was beefing with in the 4 building back then, that nigga ended up having beef with the niggas too. That shit was crazy, man. You know what I'm talking about? And the boy was putting on. You know what I mean? A lot of people get our incidences mixed up, but if people know us, they don't. You know what I mean? But he definitely complimented the handle, man. You know what I mean? And I'm quite sure, you know, he understands the same about me. Like, you know that I'm the original, and that ain't to slight him in no way. But in our time, I was the first one that had that name running with it. You know, whatever came after that, all the other tank this and tank that and whatever. In our time, that shit came later. You know what I mean? But when we talking about Tank had, you know, between 89 and let's say 94 on Rikers Island, that was myself and the homie from the Bronx. That's a fact.
That's deep. That's deep histories. Let me save this joint too.
We spanked from Queensbridge, man. You know what I mean? We was in One Main Bang back in the days, man. You know, this was before Blood was even doing anything. I think the kid Mac had the idea about it at the time. I'm not sure. But we was in One Main Bang and shit. Fruit was down there again. Shoutout was down there. Cisco from Lower East Side was down there. Didi from Brownsville was down there. They was on the other side, though. Mojo and them niggas was on the other side from Harlem. But anyway, we had a porter down there. He was an adult. We were adolescents. You know, we were in One Main Bang. He was the suicide porter, meaning he comes from the adult population to look over the inmates in the box to make sure we all are safe. So when he come over there, a kid named Blood, he, you know, jumping out the window, yo, I'm from the West Coast. Yo, I know Yo-Yo. Back then, we talking about Yo-Yo was hot. It's 1992, you know what I mean? You know, oh, I know Yo-Yo. I know, what's the nigga named DJ Quick? He telling us all this shit. This nigga bald-headed, brolic nigga. Brolic nigga got tattoos all over and shit. His name was Blood. And shit, this nigga's about like 35 years old, nigga down there telling us all this shit about the West Coast. Everything he's saying is, yo, Blood, yo, Blood. But we don't really know nothing about that shit inside New York at the time, because this is 1992 and we in One Main Bang, kid. The only thing we got to the outside world is GPX Walkmans, nigga. We ain't got no TVs, no tablets. Niggas ain't getting visits. This shit was different back then. Anyway, when the nigga kept on talking about he know Yo-Yo, I used to like Yo-Yo back in the days and shit, because I like praise and shit in my blood. So I'm like, yo, I like Yo-Yo. I told the nigga. So the nigga think I'm crazy, but he hear who I am. The nigga like, oh, nah, this nigga. I'm like, yeah, I like Yo-Yo, kid. So me and the nigga develop a relationship. He tell me he gonna hook me up with Yo-Yo, but the whole time, he telling us about this Blood shit, asking us if we watch Colors and shit like that. Niggas like, yo, niggas don't want to be Blood over here. Niggas don't care about none of that shit, nigga. What the fuck is up with Yo-Yo? Anyway, the nigga gets called for a visit. When the nigga gets called for a visit the night before, he had got some pictures. He was writing some young girl from Queens at the time. I'm saying young because she was younger than him. But she was our age. She was like 18 and 19. But we all was like 17, 18. Anyway, he bagged the little young chick, was writing her, and she ended up sending the nigga some naked pictures. Back in the days, you could get naked pictures and shit. So when she sent the naked pictures, when they called the nigga for the visit, he in front of fruit sales showing off, showing fruit pictures. When they called the nigga for the visit, he leaves the pictures with Fruit. He like, yo, I'll be back. Yo, they called me for a visit. So when he bounced, Fruit got the pictures. So Fruit like, oh shit, yo, shorty bad. She a bad bone. Fruit looking at the pictures. He let niggas know how shorty is. I'm like, well, he like that. So Fruit go look at the pictures and shit. So about an hour later, remember, boy on the visit. I hollers over the Fruit. He go, yo, kid, let me see them pictures, kid. He like, nah, come on, take it. Nah, kid, I can't give you them. I'm like, yo, Fruit, just let me look at them, kid. I'm gonna get them right back. Like, just let me look at the picture. Like, you take it, no. You be doing bullshit, yo, chill, take it. I can't let you see the man pictures. I'm like, yo, Fruit, I'm gonna get them shits right back, homie. That nigga, he on the visit. What the fuck, right? Let me see the pictures. So I took Fruit and then let me see in the pictures. Fruit slides the pictures. Lo and behold, I put the sheet up. I could look at the pictures. Shorty fired. I put up the sheet. And boy comes back off the visit. I hear the nigga. But he don't come to my cell. He go to Fruit cell. So when he go to Fruit, he like, yo, Fruit, I'm about to go back. The police gonna escort me. Let me get them pictures so I could bounce. So Fruit like, oh man. He like, yo, all right, hold on, give me a minute. So he's Fruit trying to start. He like, yo, Tank, yo, he trying, yo, man, send that Walkman over. I'm like, all right, cool. I hear the nigga. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get myself together. You already know I'm sourcing the sauce, nigga. I got the bitches. So now, the nigga like, yo, Tank, he like, nah, yo, I let Tank see them real fat, man. Go, yo, man, go get them shits from Tank. So when the nigga come over to my cell, he like, yo, take care. He already had, you know, hostile energy because he seen my sheet up over my little window. My towel, whatever we used to put in the 4 building back in the days for privacy, that's what I had up. So when he came, he like, yo, take care, knocking on my cell. I'm like, yo, what's up? So he like, yo, man, I know you ain't in there valeting, homie. I'm like, valeting what? Kid, I already know I'm busted. You get it in my voice. I'm like, valeting what? What are you talking? He like, yo, I'm like, yo, man, stop banging on my door. So now I'm flipping it. Now I'm trying to make it look like he wrong. Nigga, stop banging on my fucking door, man. I'm gonna take my towel and stop banging on my fucking door. So when I takes my towel down, he's standing there filming. He's standing, he like, yo, man, where my flicks at? I'm like, yo, man, I'm giving him the free. Like, yo, man, get my pictures back. So I get a nigga his pictures back. When I get a nigga the pictures, the nigga start going crazy, huh? Yo, this bitch. I catch a little lad out. Use my bitch. I ever yo, use my little man. I said, fuck out of here, nigga. You lied about yo, fuck out of here, nigga. I should have been flipped on you. Now I'm flipping. Remember, I'm making up shit in my mind to make him wrong. I'm projecting. Motherfucker, you the one lied. That's why I fucking jerked off your fucking bitch pictures. You fucking told me you was gonna get me hooked up with yo. So this niggas is looking at me like this nigga Tank is crazy. So now when they takes the nigga up out of there and takes him on the escort, he got his pictures. I'm like, damn kid, we gotta get rid of this nigga now, cause that nigga too big for me to fight. Remember, I'm mad little, me and Rum always was little. So now I'm like, yo kid, we gotta figure this shit out. So niggas like, fuck that Tank, you already know this, they gonna open it up. Fuck out there, we doing showers tomorrow, they open themselves up one by one, nigga. We gotta figure out a plan, cause if I get out, this nigga too big for me to fight. So we got a nigga in the back, you know, he part of our crew. We in One Main Bang. Anybody know what One Main Bang would know what One Main Bang is. Again, this is in 1992, nigga. One Main Bang. When Catino and them niggas had that bang, and Jenkins and Pickering and them niggas, and Serrano and them niggas had that bang, nigga. One Main Bang. Anyway, the next day, we put a plan together. I put the whip together. My man Ja Rage from the Bronx. I hope he's still alive, man. Shouts out to my boy Ja Rage. My man Spank from Queensbridge, he passed away, man. Spank was a gangster, man. That was Nas and them people, man. Little Lord and them from Queensbridge. Shout them out too, man. Gangster nigga. Anyway, the next day, we put the whip together. I'm like, yo, Ja Rage, when you come out, come to my cell, I'm gonna have the grip. You already know what it is, kid. Go to the shower. That nigga got a leak, huh? You already know what it was, son. Ja Rule came out, no hesitation from the Bronx. Mind you, this is 1992 when Brooklyn and Bronx was beefing. But it's certain Bronx niggas and certain Brooklyn niggas that was in alliance with each other. Like Jern, we fuck with Jern from the Bronx. I fuck with Jern. Hard Body. Rambo, brother Tech from the Bronx. John Rambo, who started the beef with Killer. John Rambo and Killer started that beef. His brother Tech, my man from the Bronx. Any old way, motherfucking, we pushed the whip together, right? So when we pushed the whip together, the kid Ja Rule come out for the shower. Ja Rule in 36 set. So they start showers from the back. You understand what I'm saying? He comes out, he put on, homie, it's my word, no hesitation. Came right up to my cell like we planned it. Dr. Grills walked right up to the dude. Boy wasn't expecting Ja Rage. He thinking about me. I'm 5 cell. I don't come till like 20 minutes later. As soon as Ja Rage seen the nigga, he put on, wow. Put that whip together, wow, he leaked the nigga love. But the West Coast nigga was not no punk, nigga. Usually niggas take it on the hot when they see the sight of their own blood, kid. You understand what I'm saying? They fear that the cut gon' rip wider, whatever their imagination makes them believe, they run. That nigga ain't run. When that nigga Ja Rage shot that nigga, mind you, that nigga was 35 and we only was like 17. When that nigga shot that big, bald-headed, muscle blood nigga from the West Coast, that nigga turned around, kid, and grabbed the motherfucking mop stick and beat that nigga Ja Rage ass all the way back to his motherfucking cell. But when he was doing it, you know, we in One Main Bang, we kicking on the gate, fuck the bitch ass nigga, we pissing in the cup, waiting for him to come back so we could throw piss in his face, splashing him before he get off the company. Nigga gets off the company, he get up out of there. I never knew what happened to the nigga Blood after that, but I know after that, that's when Blood came about. Because back then, Blood wasn't around. This is like September 1992 in One Main Bang. You ain't had not one Blood on the East Coast. Not that we knew about. I could remember in Clinton in 1995, my little man G and And Fever from the Bronx were the only Bloods in the whole jail, in the 2,000 plus man jail. My little man G from Far Rockaway and my boy Fever were the only two. Rudy and them came later. You know, the kid with all the time, my man from the Bronx, man. I forgot the kid name, man. They came later. But the first two was the ones who I told you. So back then, Blood wasn't even in the building. So if Matt got it from him, I don't know. You know what I mean? If any of them met him along the way, I don't know. I only can speak to what I know. And what I know is what I just now told you. And it happened just like how I did. The first nigga I ever met in my time from the West Coast that was talking that Blood shit. Wow.
You ever read a book so raw it grabs you by the throat and don't let go? Yeah, that's the Blood Sagas. Book 1, Blood and Loyalty. That's where it starts. Loyalty's a weapon. Family ain't always safe. And every page bleeds with power, pain, and purpose. Then comes Blood and Betrayal. And trust me, that title ain't just for show. Betrayal cuts deeper when it comes from the ones closest to you. Lines get crossed. Blood gets spilled, and the only thing more dangerous than an enemy is an ally. This series, it ain't for the faint of heart. It's dark, it's dirty, and it's damn near impossible to put down. So if you like your fantasy with grit, gods, and no guarantees, step into the Blood Sagas. You want more? Reach out to the one who birthed this chaos, Avery Brown.
LAZ, go to thebloodsaga.com and cop that. Hey, yo, if you want to cop one of these good garments t-shirts, I'm going to leave the link in the description and in the comment section. You heard? If you don't see it in the description, it's pinned in the comments. I'm going to leave several links for different varieties of the shirt. If you just want the good garments New York City joint, I got it for you.